All right, so this is Hilka with ESSA, and we are here with Tom Flynn, who is a found object metal artist. Now, I know that I saw in your email it says Tom Happy Man Flynn. So is this a nickname that you go by?
I've had that nickname for years. Just Happy Man. It's my email. It's my my website is t-happyman.com.
Yeah.
And I use it a lot at work too. It's even on my work and my professional email. When architects call me, because I do engineering, they're like, "Are you still a happy man?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I am." And I think by claiming it, other people help me achieve it, because it's not easy to always be happy.
This is true.
But by claiming it that I am a happy man on my emails and everything, it helps me. It helps others to help me.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I've spent a little time around you. I think it was last year when you were teaching at ESSA, and I can attest to the fact that you are definitely a happy man. It was a lot of fun spending time with you and seeing you interact with the students. So I think it's very fitting.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so now I'm going to ask for the dirt. I want to know a little bit about you. Who you are and what you do.
Well, I'm a found object metal sculptor, and when I started in this many years ago, I called myself a junk artist, and they said, "No, if you're going to start putting stuff in galleries, you need a better name than junk artist, so you're a found object metal sculptor." And
yeah,
oh yeah, that sounds better. Anyway, what I say about being a found object metal sculptor is what I say in like my artist statement is that being a found object metal sculptor is really close to being a hoarder. Mm-hmm. Because every piece of metal has the potential to be something, and so it's very hard for me to throw stuff away. And I never watched that show. What is it called, Hoarders? But I feel I'd probably fit right in if I did. You can see behind me, we moved recently. My wife and I moved to a smaller house with a bigger shop. So I have a 30 by 30 shop here. I'm not sure if you can see.
I can see. I want to go picking.
Yeah, it's a, I thought when I got, wow, this is a big shop. I'll never fill this up, but I have managed to fill it up.
Well, yeah, if you have the space, of course, that's what you're gonna do. Are you ever driving down the road and spot something and have to do a U-turn to go take a look and see if it's available?
Oh, yes. Yes. and I even have people that yesterday my mailman brought me some pipes.
Ooh.
So it's just you never know. I have a lot of people that at work every once in a while I'll come in and there'll be some like rusty brush hog blades on my desk.
That's nice. Yeah. It's good to have friends like that who bring
it is, yeah. And I have like this whole community that supports me, and I'll get texts and pictures of things and say, "You want this?"
Yeah. Yeah. So how did you get started doing this, Tom?
That's the funny thing is, it was many years ago in Austin, Texas. And my wife, Susan, bought me a class at the community college that was, the title of the class was a metal art or art welding. And so I went to this class and I went through it. I just loved it. I knew that's what I wanted to do. And the funny thing is, she says I always talked about being a metal artist, but I really don't remember ever saying that before the class.
Huh. And had you done any welding before that class, or was
not metal sculpting? No. I had done maybe a little bit of a clay sculpture on the wheel, you know, pottery, but not really. I do a lot of other artwork. I'm a musician and I play several instruments and I brew beer and stuff like that. So
that's very.
I've always been creative.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's always interesting to me to learn about somebody and how they found what their passion was. You know, it's because sometimes we go through life and you think, oh, I would really like to try that, but you always find excuses for not doing it. You know, you're too busy, you don't have the money, you don't have, you know, whatever it is. And I wonder about people like that who never get the chance, that maybe they're missing out on their true passion, you know, that they never discovered it. So I'm glad you discovered yours, because boy,
I am too. I'm in a group that we discuss our dreams, and we meet every other week. We call it our dream group. Yeah. And it's mostly therapists and other people, and me and my wife, and one of the things that's come up in my dreams lately is my fear of death. And I think that's because I am having so much fun right now compared to, you know, but you know, before I think I was just sort of working. Let's see if I can move out of this light a little here.
Yeah, I know, it's hot in Arkansas.
Yeah, light over here. Pink. Like that.
I love your overalls and your shirt.
Sun's coming in that window more and more. There.
Okay, now your overalls and your shirt, is this your work attire? Is this
the work attire? Yes. I happen to have just bought 2 new pairs of overalls, but they are both in the laundry right now. So I'm wearing the oldest pair.
Oh, well, those have to be the best pair, right? They're worn in just right.
Yeah, and when I used to volunteer at galleries, I would always wear a tie-dye shirt, and I remember someone once called me the tie-dye guy.
Well, you know,
tie-dye guy here today.
Well, living in Eureka Springs, I'm a fan of tie-dye myself. I mean, you can't live in Eureka without owning some tie-dye apparel.
Oh, you bet, yeah.
Okay, so why do you do what you do, Tom?
Well, I don't really know a why. I think I do this for fun, but sometimes when everything is right and the universe looks down on me or the stars are aligned right, what I do becomes profound. And that's rare. And it's like back in my monk days, and we'll get into that later, but it was like meditation, you wait. Is sometimes just waiting for God to show up. And I think with the metal sculpture too, it's like sometimes 2 or 3 pieces of metal will just sit on a bench and they're waiting for the right inspiration or the right piece of metal to show up.
Yeah. I love that. And when it all comes together, that aha moment.
Yeah, there is that aha moment, that rush of creativity when you find it.
Yeah, it gives me goosebumps just thinking about it. So how many times have you taught at ESSA?
I have just done 1 class, but we had so much fun.
Was it just the one? See, it's funny because you're one of those people, you feel like family, you know, so quickly. You feel like a friend. You just have that way about you. So I've been with ESSA for a few years, but I just assumed that you had taught at ESSA for years and years and years, just, judging by.
No, this is completely new to me. I know we tried at one point and then I didn't get my paperwork in or something. But yeah, I can't even remember. But yeah, I just did the 1 class. But then I know immediately afterwards, they said, well, we want to do a lot more of those. So
yeah, well, we can't wait to have you back, you know, once all of this craziness concludes and we can get back to the ESSA campus. So with teaching at ESSA just the one time, was there anything that you discovered about ESSA that you didn't know prior to teaching there, or, you know?
yeah, I think one of the things that I think I'm very interested in community and in, I think no one is supposed to live their life as an island. I think we all need each other.
Yeah.
And I'm very community oriented, and I want to be a part of a community. And I feel like I am here in Rogers with the Downtown Rogers group and the art group downtown.
Yeah.
With some of the galleries I'm in, I feel that I'm very much a part of the game. And I felt that same thing at ESSA, that there's a community there, a system of support, and a place to go to love and be loved.
Oh, yeah. Good. I'm glad you felt that, because I feel the exact same way about it.
Good.
So, and this is kind of a corny question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. So, did you choose art, or did art choose you?
You know, I thought about that, and I really think like I said, I've always been creative, but this, I sort of stumbled into this. You know, like I said, it was a gift, you know, from my wife that, you know, but I don't ever really remember talking about wanting to be a metal artist.
Right.
You know, and one of my favorite sayings about my spirituality is that you take one step forward and then you stumble back two, but that's a good thing because you were going the wrong way anyway. And so, and I think that's sort of how I've lived my life. And I stumbled into metal art, and just happened to find my way. And sometimes, you know, I stumble into, you know, something profound with it.
Yeah.
One of the things with found object art, and I think this is, you know, probably meant for another question, but with found object art, you're confined to what you have, and you're not, and you know, the rules are, well, yeah, there are rules, but hey, we're artists, we can break the rules, you know. Is not to change the shape of anything very much. And so you're limited in your scope a little bit, but then, you know, I think you can come out of that, and I think you can go beyond that sometimes, and sometimes that's just not there.
Right. Well, and you know, speaking about rules as an artist, it's hard to wrap my mind around that there are rules, but you're right, there are certain rules, and that kind of brings me to my next question is, let's say there's somebody who's wanting to be an artist. Now, what advice would you give them?
I think my main thing is to start doing it. You know, when I started, I could barely weld and anything, and it wasn't, you know, for several years before I got to where I felt like I had a style or anything. But by starting, then you open yourself up to growing into it.
Yeah.
But if you sit there and just read the books, or, you know, look at other people's art and say, I could do that, or maybe I could even do better than that, I think you're not going to get there until you know, put that paintbrush or that welder or whatever it is in your hand.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. I think that's true with so many things, you know, as you're living your life. Just do it, just try it. You know, you never know until you give it a whirl. So I think that's great advice. And I know, you know, I've after you taught at ESSA, I started, kind of looking at your work. Well, I wasn't stalking you, but I was maybe a little bit.
Maybe a little bit. Oh, was that you following me? Your car parked out in front of the house tonight. No.
Yeah. I know. I finally put the binoculars away.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah. But what was it? I've looked at your work, and I'm wondering, have your pieces, have they evolved over time? The way that you work, has that changed, or has it been pretty consistent?
Found object metal art seems to, if you look at what you find on like Etsy and eBay or even Facebook, a lot of times it's dogs and cats and flowers.
Yes.
And they're made out of the same items over and over again, and they all look. And so it's choosing a field where you're confined to found objects. Mm-hmm. It's harder to make a statement because sometimes it's all you can do to find things that are, three items that make the shape of a bear.
Right.
Say, but to make a statement, is sometimes, what I said earlier about stumbling into something, or taking one step forward and then stumbling back too. Yeah. Sometimes it happens unbeknown to me, and I think in the last year or two, my growth has been into a more abstract art and into making a little bit more of a statement, usually political or societal statement. Mm-hmm. And so I'm getting better at that. I've got a couple pieces right now that do that. I have a COVID piece that's over here behind me, and another one that make a statement about politics, that make a statement about our social life. And I stumbled into those. They weren't there originally, but once I started working on them, they appeared.
Yeah. Well, after I get done grilling you, Tom, I'm hoping that you'll show us a few pieces
okay.
to wrap this, once we wrap it up. Now, I'm curious. I'm always curious about people, what their past is, what their story is, what they've done, what they haven't done. So what kind of jobs have you had other than being an artist? Is there anything?
Oh, goodness. My day job now is I work part-time for an engineering firm where I do electrical engineering, and believe it or not, I have one employee here in this office, one employee, I think in New Jersey, and one in California that work with me. And we do the electrical engineering for probably, I don't know, a third to half of the McDonald's.
Wow.
In the States. So yeah, that's my job. But I've done so many things in my life. I've like I said, I've stumbled around a lot. I've been a school bus driver. Right out of high school, I wanted to be a Catholic priest, and I spent many years studying to be a Catholic priest, so I know psychology and theology and stuff like that. I also spent several years as a Benedictine monk in a monastery in New Mexico.
Wow.
And that's where a lot of my creativity and spirituality comes from, that, because that was an area where the monastery was into dreams and Jungian psychology, Christian psychology. And so we did a lot of that. And that still affects my life today. My wife is from that same monastery, and so yeah, I married a nun. So
oh, I'm imagining your conversations at dinner time. They must be riveting.
You think we've been married a long time, so sometimes they're not.
Okay, well, I'll just imagine it. Well, that is fascinating. That is so fascinating. I love that there's that side of you, because I would have never known that you have employees, that you do engineering, that you're, you know, affiliated with working with McDonald's. And
it's really a good balance for I think the technical, very brainy stuff, and then coming out here on my breaks and everything, and just being very non-technical, very, you know, just
your brain is very balanced.
It does balance. And I know at work they're always amazed at me too, because I'm sort of the old man in the office. And most of the people that I'm training and that I work with now, they got their degree in college and they'll never do anything but engineering.
Right.
And you know me, I was a school bus driver. I worked on oil field wells in Odessa, Texas. You know, I've done all sorts of things, and so they're all pretty amazed at me.
Yeah, you know? as are we.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay,